here live from the Paycom Center. They call this Loud City for a reason. This has been one of the best, most rocking environments, and you'd have to imagine they'll take it up a notch tonight. Alongside the one and only Stephen A. Smith, NBA champion head coach Michael Malone, NBA champion and Thunder alumnus Kendrick Perkins. Yeah. I'm Malika Andrews. Gentlemen, OKC looking to advance to the finals tonight, and this is the near perfect stage for them to do it, right? They've only lost in this building once this postseason, and they've outscored their opponents by 109 points at home. That is the best points differential over an 8-game span at home in NBA playoff history. Coach, they say elimination games, they are the hardest to win. Can you just take us inside the locker room of a team that's on the brink?
Well, most people are looking at Minnesota having to play with tremendous urgency tonight. Mark Daigneault is fighting human nature. He's trying to get his guys to understand we don't want to go back to Minnesota. We want to put them to sleep tonight. They have to find a way, Malika, to be more urgent, more desperate, and flip the script on these guys. And that's going to be evident once we start this game. But you can't ease into it, and you can't fall into the trap of saying, we've got 3 games to win 1. They've got to handle their business tonight. You don't want to give them a chance to go back to Minneapolis.
That's coming from a coach who's come back from more 3-1 deficits than any other coach in NBA history, Stephen A. What is it going to take for Oklahoma City on the other side to end the Wolves tonight in advance?
Well, listen, it ain't going to be that hard. Let's call it what it is. Their defense,
really?
No, because their defense is elite, and if the defense shows up and you get anything from Shai and Jalen Williams comparable, remotely comparable to what we saw from them in Game 4, this is a wrap. It's really that simple. You know that they're going to get stops. You know that they're going to wreak havoc on Minnesota's offense. We've seen how discombobulated the Wolves have been from time to time throughout this series. That's why they're down 3-1. Even got to a point where Anthony Edwards is going out there attempting 13 shots for an entire game, 2 for the entire first half, and saying, hey, you know what, I did my job. That is going to take more than that to beat Oklahoma City, particularly in this environment, in these confines. So because of that, you know you're OKC. You know how this crowd's going to rally around you. You know they giving Big Perk standing ovations and celebrating him like he was still playing in the hole, stuff like that. Imagine what they're going to do for this team if they get going. It's just going to rile up the adrenaline and momentum and everything like that. It's going to squash the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's what they got to do. Make sure they're efficient and make sure their defense shows up.
The Minnesota Timberwolves are going to get smoked tonight. It's going to be one of those games for them. And it's just how good or how great this defense is for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They don't come into a game worried about offense. That's the difference between them and Minnesota. The one thing that they're going to hang their hats on all the time is their identity and their culture, which is the defensive side of things. You got Lou Dort, who's getting physical. You saw the other night, those 50-50 balls, he had guys moving out the way. He was diving on them balls. It was like, oh, he's diving at knees. No, he ain't diving at knees. He wanted that bad. And so when you have guys that come in with that type of mindset, Alex Caruso, who is reminded the locker room, who is a champion, what's at stake right now and how to stay composed. And you got a young leader in SGA who's arguably the best leader in the game. They're going to close it out tonight.
Let's talk a little bit more about SGA, Stephen A., because this Thunder team, or the Thunder have been to the finals before, but to have a young star like SGA as your leader, what step can he take tonight?
You know, listen, I think that he can definitely take another step. First of all, you're advancing them to the finals for the first time in years. It'll be his first finals. Secondly, 40 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists in the last game. You're going up against Ant-Man, and clearly you shine. This is just a couple of games after you received the league MVP honors. And so now you come into a closeout game. There's a star, in a lot of people's eyes, a superstar on the other side of the ball that you've outplayed for the vast majority of this series. To close the deal, to send him into the offseason in a fashion similar to what we saw transpire in Game 4, we're going to be looking at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander not just as a league MVP, but potentially a champion and clearly a superstar in this game. We're going to treat him with a level of deference that is reserved for very few.
One thing about him in the last game that's so impressive for me, he has a really tough Game 3. The defense against him was outstanding. He comes back in Game 4, 40-10. We know the stats. But not once did he look like he was forcing it. Not once did it look like he was out of control. He's taking the game as it comes at him. He's reading, he's reacting, he's making all of his teammates better. The 10 assists, they made 8 threes off those 10 assists. That's the sign of a great player, the definition of a great player, those that can make everyone around them better. And we're witnessing right now, this guy is becoming the face of the NBA, and he embraces that challenge.
Don't you imagine, though, the Timberwolves, there's the adjustments to the adjustments, Perk, and it felt like, you know, we call him Shea Butter because he's smooth, but down the stretch, it didn't even seem like Shea at times was breaking a sweat, partially because he got so much help from Jalen Williams. He really felt like he took the next step in that last game.
He did. But let me get you a fact out there real quick. The Thunder haven't been to the NBA Finals since they traded me. And that's a fact. That is a fact. So let's get that out there.
But does that mean because you are back in the building tonight that could be a good omen? You are wearing orange, their accent
Tell him,
color.
Perk.
I pulled out the turtleneck because they say I look skinnier. You know what I mean? So I pulled it out because they say I look skinnier. So you might see this the rest
They in
of the
line.
summer. Look, here's the thing. J-Dub has shown us in this series that he's a bona fide number 2. That he's arriving. He's been consistent. Outside of Game 3, Game 1, Game 2, and Game 4, he has balled out. Now, what I'm ready for the next leap for Jalen Williams is those non-SGA minutes, right? When SGA is not on the floor, I want to see him take over a little bit more at an efficient rate. But outside of that, he has been outstanding and has proven himself to be a bona fide number 2.
All season long, I said.
You did.
They can win the championship if that brother steps, because he's got the skills to do it. It was the consistency that he was lacking. That brother shows up. I
don't give you your props often.
But
I'm on fire. It's EDA over here.